This fruit technically shouldn't exist. It possesses a skin so thin it bleeds when you touch it. It blooms in the dead of winter when other trees are dormant, and it survives temperatures cold enough to freeze mercury. For decades, the best genetics of this plant were locked behind the Iron Curtain, studied in secret horticultural stations in Siberia as a survival food for a starving populace. While American farmers were busy breeding apples to look pretty on a shelf, Soviet scientists were breeding a berry that could act as a biological heater for the human body. It looks like a blueberry stretched by a funhouse mirror. It tastes like a raspberry soaked in wine. And it contains a specific compound that makes the superfoods in your grocery store look like sugar water. But you have likely never seen it. You have never tasted it. This is the honeyberry, Lonicera caerulea, the exile of the fruit world. Welcome to Ancestral Yields. If you're ready to stop eating what they sell you and start growing what they hid from you, smash that like button and subscribe. Let's dig in. To understand why this plant is a biological marvel, we have to look at the engine under the hood. The honeyberry is a member of the honeysuckle family. Usually that is a red flag because most honeysuckles are toxic. But this is the blueberried anomaly, an evolutionary outlier designed for the punishment of the boreal forest. While a commercial peach or cherry blossom will turn brown and die if the temperature dips below 28 degrees Fahrenheit, the open blossom of a honeyberry can withstand 19 degrees Fahrenheit without flinching. The wood itself survives minus 53 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the tank of the fruit world. But the real secret is in the chemistry. We have been sold a lie that the blueberry is the king of antioxidants. Let's look at the anatomy of that lie. Cut open a commercial blueberry. What do you see? Blue skin. But the flesh inside is translucent green or white. The medicine is only skin deep. Now cut open a honeyberry. The flesh is deep, violent crimson purple all the way through. It is saturated. This color comes from anthocyanins, specifically a high-octane compound called cyanidin 3-glucoside, abbreviated C3G. It is the master antioxidant. In clinical studies, C3G has been shown to be 3.5 times more potent than the analogs found in vitamin E. It does not just scavenge free radicals. It actively modulates inflammation at the cellular level. Let's get to the specific numbers. According to mass spectrometry analysis by the University of Saskatchewan and Dalhousie University, a standard blueberry contains roughly 160 to 200 milligrams of anthocyanins per 100 grams. The honeyberry clocks in between 400 and 1,500 milligrams per 100 grams, depending on the cultivar. That is up to a 750% increase. Consider vitamin C. An orange gives you about 53 milligrams per 100 grams. The honeyberry delivers up to 186 milligrams per 100 grams. That means a small handful, about half a cup, provides more vitamin C than 3 oranges without the insulin spike of fructose. We are talking about a superfruit that requires 0 chemical inputs to grow. The honeyberry is not new. It is just new to us. For centuries, the Ainu people, the indigenous inhabitants of Hokkaido, Japan, held this plant in reverence. They called it haskap. The name means the berry of long life and many presents. To the Ainu, this was not just a snack. It was the lotus of the north, a sacred elixir that granted vitality in a harsh frozen landscape. While the Ainu understood its spiritual value, the Soviet Union understood its strategic value. During the 20th century, Soviet horticulturists were obsessed with food security. They needed crops that could produce vitamin C in regions where citrus trees would instantly freeze to death. Russian scientists scoured the Kamchatka Peninsula, collecting wild genetics of Lonicera caerulea. For decades, the breeding of this berry was conducted in secret horticultural stations behind the Iron Curtain. It became, in effect, a spycraft berry. It was not until the fall of the Soviet Union that these genetics trickled west. It was not until the late 1990s that Dr. Bob Boers at the University of Saskatchewan began the monumental task of crossing the bitter, cold, hardy Russian varieties with the sweet, delicate Japanese varieties. The result was the modern honeyberry, a fruit with the toughness of a Soviet tank and the flavor profile of a Japanese delicacy. To understand the honeyberry's potential, we have to look at its competition, the blueberry. In the world of gardening, the blueberry is a complete diva. It is high maintenance and notoriously difficult to please. Blueberries evolved in bogs, which means they require highly acidic soil with a pH between 4.5 and 5.5. If you live anywhere with neutral soil, where the pH is 7, the blueberry is a nightmare. If you plant a blueberry in standard garden soil, it cannot access iron. The leaves turn yellow, a condition called chlorosis, and the plant slowly starves to death. To keep it alive, you have to buy bags of peat moss, apply elemental sulfur annually, and constantly fight the natural chemistry of your land. The honeyberry is the anti-diva. It thrives in a massive pH range of 5.0 to 8.0. It grows in heavy clay that would suffocate a blueberry. It grows in silt. It grows in sand. It requires no sulfur and no pampering. It accepts the land as it is. But there is a darker reason why the blueberry won the commercial war. Industry chose it because it has a thick, waxy cuticle, its skin. That allows the blueberry to be mechanically harvested, tumbled into bins, and shipped without bursting. The honeyberry represents the opposite philosophy. The skin of a honeyberry is almost non-existent. It is meltingly soft, similar to a ripe raspberry, but even more delicate. If you fill a deep crate with honeyberries and put it on a semi-truck, the bottom layer will be crushed by the weight of the top layer. You do not arrive at the distribution center with fruit. You arrive with juice. Furthermore, the berry separates from the stem with what botanists call a wet scar. When you pick a blueberry, the wound heals over instantly. When you pick a honeyberry, the fruit is often open at the top, and juice can leak out. This makes it a nightmare for the industrial supply chain. A fruit that has a shelf life of 3 days and stains the packaging is deemed commercially unviable, regardless of whether it has 7 times the antioxidants of its competitor. This supply chain failure is your opportunity. Because industry cannot monetize the honeyberry, the only way to experience this berry of life is to grow it yourself. And thankfully, it is arguably the easiest fruit plant you will ever own. But first, safety is paramount. Do not go into the woods and start eating random honeysuckles. Most wild honeysuckles with red or orange berries are toxic. You are looking specifically for Lonicera caerulea or Lonicera villosa. Do not forage these unless you are an expert. The safest, most effective path is to buy certified cultivars from a reputable nursery. The honeyberry is a northern beast. It thrives in United States Department of Agriculture zones 2 through 7. It can tolerate zone 8 if given afternoon shade and plenty of water. But it hates the blistering heat of the deep south. It requires what botanists call chill hours, specifically 1,000 to 1,200 hours between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 45 degrees Fahrenheit to set fruit. In winter, these plants are deciduous. They drop their leaves and go dormant, and for a while they look like lifeless sticks. Do not panic. This dormancy is their superpower. It is what allows them to wake up in March and survive the freezes that kill everything else. Do not buy seeds. This is critical. Honeyberries are not true to seed. If you buy a packet of seeds from the internet, you will end up with a wild, bitter bush that takes 5 years to fruit. You must buy dormant plants or plugs to guarantee the sweet genetics. You need to find specialized nurseries rather than your local hardware store. Look for varieties like Aurora, Borealis, Indigo Gem, or The Beast. Look for vendors like Honeyberry USA or One Green World, as they carry the prime University of Saskatchewan varieties. Stark Bros and proven winners also stock lines like Yesberry, which are excellent for home growers. Next, you must follow the pairing rule. Honeyberries are not self-fertile. You must plant at least 2 different varieties that bloom at the same time to get cross-pollination. If you plant Aurora, pair it with Borealis or Indigo Gem. If you buy the Beast, pair it with the Beauty. Without a partner, you will have flowers but no fruit. Plant honeyberries in the ground in early spring or late fall. Mulch them heavily to keep the roots cool and walk away. Deer tend to ignore them because the leaves are fuzzy. Pests rarely bother them because the fruit ripens in late May or early June, before most bugs have even woken up. A healthy bush can live for 50 years. And the taste? Imagine a flavor that sits perfectly between a blueberry, a raspberry, and a black currant. It has complexity. The newer varieties have Brix levels, which measure sugar content, reaching 15 to 18. For context, a strawberry averages 10. By planting honeyberries, you are reclaiming the hunger gap. While your neighbors are buying expensive, white-fleshed strawberries shipped from 3 states away, you will be walking into your backyard, filling buckets with the deep purple lotus of the north. The industry will not sell it to you because they cannot ship it. They cannot control it. And that makes it the ultimate fruit of freedom. If you are ready to plant the crop that breaks the rules of winter, hit the like button and subscribe to Ancestral Yields. We are digging up the past to feed the future. See you in the garden.